Hello, this is Diego Castro and welcome back again to the School of Magic of Love. Today we are continuing the study of the 7 laws of the universe, and today we are going to study the law of correspondence. I would like to begin by saying that it is very hard for all of us to understand the basic laws of the universe if we don't understand the law of correspondence. We can also begin by saying that there is a statement of the law of correspondence that says that one place for each thing and each thing in its own place. In the universe, there is a place for everything to happen, and everything that happens is in its appropriate and corresponding place. There is nothing out of place in the universe. Everything that happens in the universe is in its perfect and corresponding place, even if we understand it or not, even if we like it or not. Everything is in its own corresponding place. So I would like also to begin by reading the fundamental statements of the law of correspondence, because it is going to let us understand a lot of things that happens in our own life. So this is the law that rules the order of the universe. It determines the distribution of time, space, place, action, and function for all living beings, and the limits that are correspondent with the space of action of all different species, and also of everything that has been distributed according to this law. So what is the meaning of this? We can say that correspondence is the law that organizes everything that exists. It distributes the time in which everything has to happen, the spaces in which they must happen, the function of every living being, the function of every living species, and it also determines the limits between distribution and function. We can say that the law of correspondence gives all the order of the processes of the universe. Correspondence also determines places, shapes, events, interactions, and all processes for an understanding. We can say, for instance, that every one of us has the perfect and corresponding body with the perfect and corresponding measures. Complaining about our own physical body is not acknowledging the law of correspondence in our own existence. So we can also say something that is very important. Nothing happens to anyone that is not correspondent with him. Everything that may happen to any one of us is correspondent with our own experience. This is why there are a lot of correspondences in the world. We can put also the following example. For instance, a baby is corresponding with being born in a wealthy family, while another boy is corresponding with being born in a poor family. Do you think that there is good luck or bad luck? That there is any kind of injustice? No, there is only correspondence. Every one of us has a wonderful, corresponding, and perfect opportunity for our own conscious development, which is the fundamental purpose in the universe. So, when we don't know this, we start talking about injustice, and we try to correct something that is already perfect, and thus, without knowing it, we try to disorganize it. Remember, the law of correspondence is the law of the order of the universe. So, when we don't accept something because we don't understand it, we try to organize something that has already a perfect order. And when we try to do this, we face the law of evolution, because the law of evolution is not going to let us disorganize something that has already been organized with a perfect purpose in the universe. Of course, we can try to do it, but the law of evolution won't allow us. This part is very important, because sometimes we say, for instance, when we think of people surrounding us, poor Joe, poor Andrew, but what we don't know is that their experiences and what they are living is perfect and correspondent for their own evolutionary process. Maybe there are more opportunities than difficulties. Sometimes we see a person with a difficulty or with a limitation, and we think, poor guy. But what we don't know is that those experiences are perfect and corresponding with them. Maybe this person has a better opportunity to be happy than the rest of us. Besides, happiness does not depend on the characteristics of our body, but on the development of our understanding. Few opportunity has someone to accept himself when he has the perfect body, but a person that has any kind of limitation in his body has a better opportunity for his own growth and for his own acceptance. The specimen selected as optimum by nature has few chances to learn to accept himself, and maybe sometimes he is full of ego and pride. Sometimes behind that which appears to be a quality or a virtue, there is really a correspondence. For instance, we can think about this beautiful girl that, of course, she maybe has a lot of qualities and a lot of virtues, but because people around her are always doing what she has to do, she never shows her virtues and her qualities. But maybe this girl, that maybe she's not so pretty, because no one around her is doing what she has to do, she is forced to show all her virtues or her qualities, and she turns out to have a lot of intellectual abilities because of all the effort that she is doing. So what do you think? Lack or correspondence? So that which appears to be so flattering turns out to be not so flattering, and that which appears to be a difficulty is an opportunity. So this is how the law of correspondence works. So there is no good or bad luck, there is simply correspondence. Every one of us is correspondence with what we have, with what we live, and with what happens to us. We can also see the law of correspondence in everything that cannot be done, that you cannot do. No matter how much you try, you cannot do it. Why is this? Because you are not correspondent with it. There can be a million reasons why something is not corresponding with you. However, what is evident is that if you cannot do it, it is not corresponding with you, at least not in this very moment. Maybe later it can be corresponding with you. Of course, if you discover why it is not corresponding with you. When we accept something, when we renounce to something, we are again in the order of the universe. But when we insist in something that is not for us, being stubborn, we are out of the order of the universe. I know that you may be asking yourself the following question: how can I know, Diego, the difference between being stubborn and being constant? When is it that I am being constant? When is it that I am not being constant? When is it that I am being stubborn? Listen, one thing is to get what you want, and the other thing is to get what you need. What you want, you are never going to get it. But maybe you are being correspondent with having some things, even though those things are not what you truly need. Masters say something that is also part of our popular sayings. They say, be careful for what you ask, for what you wish, because you might get it. If I wish for things I don't need, being stubborn, life is going to say to me, hey, you don't need this experience, but as you are insisting on it, you are going to make yourself correspondent with that experience. So you might think that you have succeeded, but the question that you have to ask is, at what cost? What was the cost? So here it is very important to redefine success. No matter if we are talking about a business, about economics, about traveling, about a relationship, what is success? So, do you think that success is getting what I want? Or success is learning how to be in harmony with peace and with love? So, for instance, I fell in love with someone that is not paying attention to me, but I want that person. So I insist and I finally get to have a relation with that person. I have what appears to be a success, but then I'm going to find myself in a relation, in an awful relation of destiny. I wouldn't call that success. Another person, for instance, runs a business tenaciously and he works day and night in that business. But in doing that business and in spending all the time in his business, he has a lot of health problems, a lot of relations problems, but he succeeded in his business. Do you think that is success? Well, The laws of the universe run all these processes. If I am being stubborn enough, I am going to get what I don't need. But I made myself correspondent with living that experience because I was stubborn. So we want a real definition of success, not the one that culture told us, which is having a lot of things, holding a lot of things, power, money, because that is not success. That is simply an evolutionary correspondence, but that is not success. So the following is a definition of success that masters use. A person of success is someone who always has what is necessary for being happy. So what is necessary for being happy? What you have is exactly what you need for being happy. From this point of view, every one of us could be happy if we could reverse the phrase. I always have what I need to be happy because I am happy with what I have. If I cannot be happy with what I have, then what I have is an incapacity of accepting and bowing. So no one is missing what is necessary for being happy, at least not at a material level, at a spiritual level, or at an understanding level. Understanding that it exists what is necessary. And if I cannot be happy with what is necessary, which is what I already have, then I can never be happy with anything. That is success. Having economical power, political power, or many things that doesn't give you happiness, peace, harmony, or balance is not success. That is not being successful. Of course, you can have all of this, but at what cost? Being stubborn? So, be careful for what you wish. So, to avoid being stubborn, I invite you to use the relation 3-7, which is the one we use in the laws of life. Never insist in something less than 3 times so that you know that you are not being constant. At least you need to try 3 times to know that you are being constant and to know that you are being correspondent with something. And as much as 7 times to know that you are not being stubbornly correspondent with undesirable situations. I know that you may be asking yourself, so Diego, then it means I have to be conformist or to conform myself? Well, conformism is a mental limitation in which people say, I am not capable, I can't, I conform because I think I cannot do it. You know, correspondence from the point of view of the law is something very different. I understand that it does not correspond for me to do some things. Then I renounce to do something that is not corresponding with me. For instance, we have the example of this neighborhood that has been invaded by homeless people, where you can find violence, misery, and many other hard and difficult situations. We are going to face to these situations 2 kinds of people. The first person with wisdom and with the power to change the situation, and the other person without wisdom and without the power to change the situation. So the one with wisdom is going to say, I understand that this situation is correspondent with these people. It does not correspond for me to change this situation because these people are learning something valuable from this situation. So I'm not going to change this situation. And this situation doesn't need to be changed for these people, at least not in this moment. The other person who has no wisdom but wanting to change the situation is going to say, well, I will love and like to change this situation, but I cannot do it. No matter how much I tried, I cannot do it. So that is conformism. You know, unconstant is the person who knows and acknowledges that what he is doing, even though there are difficulties, correspond with his function and needs to be done. That is the person who is constant. And how he can recognize that he is constant? Because what he does, even there are some difficulties, things are flowing. It flows and it doesn't stop. Maybe it doesn't flow at the speed he would like it to be, but things are flowing at the correspondent speed. That means being constant, which is very different from being stubborn. The stubborn blocks himself. He can even lose his physical form if he is stubborn enough. Of course, culture told us a lot of ideas. Never give up, don't be a conformist, you cannot resign, not step back, keep on fighting, keep on struggling. And of course, you can do all of this with wisdom. But if we go against the law of the universe, there is no force that can save us. For the force of the universe is stronger than any other force. And we can recognize it when we are totally blocked. So if this is happening to you, if you are blocked in your life, you only have to ask yourself the following question: what is it that I am going against? If this is not happening, if you are flowing, if you are not blocked, that is your correspondence and that is your function. For instance, there is a person who says, I don't like this city, I don't like this town, I am going to finish with this town or city, and he has the power to do it, he has the strength to do it. Then that is his correspondence, that is what corresponds for him to do, that is his function, or else he wouldn't have the power and the strength to do it. Gerardo always used to tell here the following story. He used to talk about these two brothers. These two brothers, they opened a gym in a different part of the city. So with time, the first brother started thriving in his business. He had a lot of clients, a lot of subscribers, he had a lot of work, and with time, a lot of money. The brother that put the gym in the other part of the city, with time, he had no clients, no subscribers, he had no money, he had no work. So he started to think, well, maybe it was because this part of the city is not good for me, it's not good for gyms. So he asked his brother if they could swap gyms. So his brother said that, okay, we can swap gyms. So this brother went to the other part of the city, and this one went to the part of the city where he thought that were more subscribers and were more clients. And what happened? With time, this brother started to get no clients, no subscriber, and the gym business started to go down with no work. But the other brother, who went to the other part of the city, where this brother thought that was not good for gyms, with time started to thrive, to have a lot of new subscribers, a lot of new clients, he had a lot of works, and with time he increased all his money. So that is correspondence, and that is how the law of correspondence can be recognized in something very simple, in what no matter what you want to do, it can't be done, it doesn't work for you, because it is not your correspondence, that is not your function. So stop fighting against that, because you will generate a blockage. We as human beings, we have to understand that we didn't come all to earth to do the same functions. Some people came to be businessmen, other people came here to be employees, other people came to be sportsmen, other people came to be musicians, and just like that, there are many functions and correspondences. And that is how the law of correspondence is working. You may be asking yourselves, so why is it that we have to live all these many experiences? And the reason why we need to face experiences is because we just don't know. And the one who has to learn is not God. The one who has to learn is not the Father, but the Son. But the Son of who? The Son of God. Because the Son of God does not have the same wisdom as the Father. He is just the Son. And as all sons, needs to grow up and to go to school. So our sons at a human level go to human schools to learn what intellect needs to learn, but the sons of God go to the schools of God to learn what also they need to learn. Which are the schools of God? The schools of God are, of course, the universe and all the experiences and circumstances we need to live. So the reason why we need to face some circumstances and to face experiences is because the Son doesn't know. We just don't know. Of course, one thing is the Son, and another thing is the Father, another thing is God. And of course, the Father doesn't live any experience or has any destiny or evolution. The Father never descends, and he never loses perfection. He has always been, and he will always continue to be eternal. Sons, of course, will also turn into fathers when they grow up and they are ready to get that condition. Meanwhile, for all of us, there is correspondence and there is evolution. The law of correspondence is the superior law of the inferior triangle, and this is the most important law in all our learning process. If we could understand this law in a very deep way, we could free our minds of the 80% of our mental conflicts. Without knowing it, we fight against the order of the universe, and we also fight against our correspondences, and we would like to free ourselves from our correspondences, and we would like to help other people to free themselves from their correspondences. But of course, the universe is not going to let us do this, and when we try to do this, we find a lot of conflicts, and this is how we can recognize the law of correspondence. Let us remember the principle of this law. One place for each thing, and each thing in its place. This means that there can be anything in the place that is not appropriate for it. All living being, all circumstance, all experience is developed under the adequate and correspondent place and circumstance. There is no good or bad luck. This is not subject to chance, but to an order in the universe. The only thing we need to ask ourselves under any given situation is, what is it I have to learn from this? Because this is the exact place, and this is correspondent with me. So if we can understand this, we can understand that each people lives a different experience that is necessary and correspondent for him. So another aspect of the law of correspondence is that I wasn't born in a country or any given place by coincidence. I am not working in a company or in any given place by coincidence. All of this is ruled by the law of correspondence. If I am thinking about moving to another place or to another country, and if that is not working or flowing for me, then it means that the following is happening to me. I don't want to do my function in the place where it corresponds for me to do it. And the second one is that as I don't want to do my function in the place where it corresponds for me to do it, then it means that I am not committed with my function. And as I am not committed with my function, then it means that I cannot generate prosperity, because I cannot serve, I cannot give. If my body is in one place and my mind is in another place, do you think that I can be committed? I need to be committed with the place in which I am, with my function, with my work, and of course, with myself. So, as you can see, blockages in our life are originated in simple things, and all of them are associated with the law of correspondence. The first one, trying to avoid the experiences of others. The second one, trying to avoid my destiny. And the third one, trying to do my function in a place where it doesn't correspond for me to do it. Every one of us is correspondent with a destiny, and that destiny is developed in one place, and that destiny has a function for every one of us, and that function is specific. Therefore, if I fight against it, I cannot commit with my function, and then I am going to get blocked. Of course, our destiny can be changed when we can change our correspondence. And how is it that we can change our correspondence? Well, it is very easy. It happens when I can change my mind, my limitations, my concepts and false beliefs, and I can turn them into truth of understanding. This is how I can change my external correspondence. This is how I can transmute my destiny and turn it into wisdom. And then I can generate a totally satisfying correspondence. As you can see, this is not new, and this has been said before by masters all over the history of humankind. Remember what Jesus Christ said? Seek first for the kingdom of God inside of you, and the rest will be added unto you. This is how we can transmute our destiny. Of course, I prefer to say, seek first for the kingdom of love inside you, which is the same as saying the kingdom of God, because God is love and love is God. If you can find the kingdom of God or the kingdom of love inside of you, the rest will be added unto you. This means that you are going to be correspondent with everything else, just with finding the kingdom of God inside of you. And this is the only thing we need to do as human beings. And how can you find the kingdom of love or the kingdom of God? Well, it is very easy. You need to go to a place where love is not expressed, so that you can learn to express it. You need to go to a place where there is no peace, so that you can learn to have inner peace. You need to go to a place where there is no happiness, so that you can learn to be happy, even if no one around you is happy. It is only there where you can find the kingdom of love or the kingdom of God. Remember what Jesus Christ said, I didn't come to bring you peace, but war. Because peace is a result that you have when you learn not to fight. So the kingdom of God is invulnerable peace. If no one can take away from you your peace, then nothing can be taken away from you. And that is how we can find the kingdom of God inside of ourselves. So I hope the law of correspondence is clear for all of you. So stop fighting against anyone. Stop trying to change anything or anyone. But don't do it because of resignation. Don't do it because of conformism. Don't do it because you think that you cannot do it. Do it because of an understanding. Because you understand that you are not helping anyone. If you are trying to free him from the experiences that are correspondent for him. So this is the end of the law of correspondence. I would just like to end by leaving you a short homework. And this is going to be very interesting, and this is going to make you think a lot about your correspondences and the things and the experiences that you are living in your life. So the first question is the following. Please think what circumstances you think are unfair in your life. Just think about that. What circumstances do you think are unfair in your life? The second question is, what do you think do you have those experiences or situations? The third question is, what is the result that you have of fighting against injustice? And the fourth question is what will you do to be correspondent with satisfactory situations in your life? Just ponder about those questions. And think about all of those questions in these weeks until we have the next video. So that will be all for now. Have a nice week, and I hope to see you in the next video. If you have any comments, please write them down below, and goodbye.